Thank you. Further debate? I recognize the member for Kiiwetinoong.
Speaker, I don't know what to feel. I don't know what to say. But I am very honored to be able to speak today on behalf of the people of Kiiwetinoong, on behalf of the people that were never allowed to speak their language in colonial institutions. I am proud to support this motion that will allow me to speak my language, Anshinimwin, in this chamber, whenever I choose. Speaker, language is fundamental to our ways of life. It helps us to understand everything. But English is not my first language. It is Anshinimwin. Anshinimwin is the language of my people. And I am of my people. Anshinimwin means language of the people. Literally means human talk. The English language serves all communication needs and purposes of the English-speaking society. Our language, Anshinimwin, does the same for our people. Our language, Anshinimwin, defines and informs of who we are. In an engaging relationship with our environment, with our spirituality and physical. What it does is it establishes our identities as people of the land. Our language, Anshinimwin, enables us to express our values, our ways of life, our culture, our histories, our geography, our philosophy, and our worldview. How important is our language? Our history has directly connected us to the land through place names. For example, where I come from, Missamakwish, Manadu Baltic, Hagaskazaiganing, and many others that I grew up learning. These names tell us the historic events that occurred in each of these places. If we lose our language, we lose all of our histories. Our people, the identities, are directly connected to the land through place names. As I said, Kitchinamegsup Inunuak, the people of Big Trout Lake. Wajashkununimuak, Wajashkukunimink, the people of Muskrat Dam. Again, if we lose our language, we lose our people identities. Through our language, we pass on our culture, our traditions to our children. Hunting moose, hunting ducks, and geese all have their set of specialized words and phrases. one has to engage in all these activities in order to express, in order to share experiences with others. Our language connects a person to our culture, traditions, and it is our culture and traditions that shapes and defines who we are as people of the land. For the individual, for First Nations people, it develops a sense of identity, cultural stability, and cultural strength needed to meet today's language. I think it's important to share some words, when the government devised and implemented its assimilation policy regarding First Nations people, regarding Indians. And it recognized how important that our language was in maintaining our identities. The government decided to remove the children from their language source and move them far away places to the Indian residential schools. There, they forbade the speaking of our languages, a method of taking the Indian out of the Indian. The Ontario Ministry of Education recognized the importance of children learning in their first language. It has developed curriculum, resource material for teaching our languages in the classroom. Our people are reclaiming ownership of our language. We have developed and implemented full immersion education in our community schools. We also have developed and established bilingual, bicultural education in our schools. Again, language builds our sense of identity and self-esteem. And learning and knowing what it means to be Indigenous, or for me, to be Anishinaabe. It helps us to understand ceremony and traditional stories, and it supports our community's nationhood, safety, and ability to govern. It is very powerful. Language and Shinimuan is very powerful. As First Nations people, as Indigenous people, we not only hold language rights, but the United Nations Declaration of the Rights of Indigenous People says that Indigenous people and individuals have the right not to be subjected to forced assimilation or destruction of their culture. Speaker, I've been here serving the people of Kiwetinoong in this house for almost 6 years. Here, in this building, the standing orders up until today has said every member desiring to speak must rise in his or her place and address the speaker in either English or French. If I did differently and spoke my language beyond a few words at the beginning or end, the speaker would have to enforce the standing order. This has been a form of forced assimilation right here in this legislature. So this is very monumental for me. And I don't know This is for the people that are not allowed to speak their language. This is for the people that have lost their language. I think there's always people, our ancestors are watching. Our parents are watching. I say this as I see this, very momentous change. I want to say as well that this violence of trying to erase our languages should have never been done to us. And in the summary report of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, they talked about the banning of languages as one of the ways states engage in cultural genocide. In Canada, governments actively tried to deny First Nations peoples our rights to speak our languages. They did this systematically by forcing our children to go to Indian residential school, where we would be punished if we tried to speak our languages. More than 150,000 First Nations, Métis, and Inuit children attended these schools. I remember attending grade 9. I remember attending grade 10. I thought I was going to school. It was a midnight school. I remember we would be punished if we spoke our language. I remember sitting in detention. I remember, doing chores as punishment because of who I am, because me speaking my language. How awful, eh? And I think, and that's the experience that we've had as people. I want to read from the TRC summary report. I want to quote this. In 1890, the Indian Commissioner Hayder Reid proposed, quote, "At the most, the native language is only to be used as a vehicle of teaching and should be discontinued as such as soon as practicable. English was to be the primary language of instruction." These racist and colonizing policies led to language loss. Rose Dorothy Charlie, a residential school survivor, quoted in the report, said, "They took my language. They took it right out of my mouth. I never spoke it again." Punishments for speaking in their languages were severe. And in many cases, children were physically abused for using only language that they knew. The harm and the devastation this caused for our nations, our children, and our families cannot be overstated. But children would keep on speaking it in secret. This is why so many of their languages survive today. Just a few weeks ago, I spoke in the House about a news story about how First Nations youth were treated in profit care homes. in that news story, we heard that they were still being punished for speaking their languages. The change being made here today should be a model and a beginning for more change to support and care for our languages and to respect our right to speak them. Speaker, this isn't just the right thing to do. It is about recognizing what is already our right to speak. Moving forward from this history, from the history and continued reality of colonial violence to Indigenous people is not possible without protecting our languages. The right to use our languages, to revitalize them, and pass them on to our next generation, and to access education and media in our languages are part of the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples. And I'm going to say in closing that I'm very honored to be able to speak in the coming months, to speak my language. One of the things I want to do is I want to bring my mom here. My mom does not speak the language, or English rather, but I think sometime in May I'm going to bring her down here, hopefully to watch me speak my language, and there'll be simultaneous translation. And today I'm very hopeful, for the change, but not only, all of our people are trying to reconnect and speak in our languages, the younger generations, for the elders. And I think this change to the standing orders will matter to the people living not just in Kiwetinoong, but in Ontario, many of whom who understand Anshinimun, also known as Ojibwe. I think it's important to note that our languages are living and contain our ways of being. And it's important that they are key to our health. They are key to our healing. Language is medicine. Last month, I was in this gathering in Manitoba, where First Nations and Kiwetinoong joined with our relatives in Manitoba for their first Anishinaabe Innuwa gathering, convened by the Anishinaabe Gathering of Nations. And probably 90%, 95% of the time, our language was spoken. It was just an amazing, amazing gathering. Our languages serves all our communication needs, as I said before, and its purposes. And I know I am the only person elected in this chamber who will directly impact today. But as Speaker, the meaning goes far beyond me. This change should be a reminder to all institutions where people in positions of power prevent First Nations people from speaking our languages, that in doing so, you commit colonial violence. This change should be a starting point for more change here, but in other institutions as well. More efforts should be made to support Indigenous languages in schools across Ontario, as well as more funding for organizations running language revitalization programs. It is especially important for me that this change means the future Indigenous people who get elected as MPPs will not have to face this barrier and will be able to speak their own language from day one. When I first got elected, this feather was given to me, Speaker, but it was a note from, it was a gift from the leaders at the Sinabaski Nation. And I never share this, but it's just something I keep, but I want to share with you. It's dated January 13. No, July 13, 2018. So about a month after I first got elected, they had a blessing ceremony for me in my home community. It says, Sol, in our old customs, an eagle feather is earned through the work it does for himself and for his people. This eagle feather that is given to you is earned. This feather is part of a wing of an eagle. The wings work the hardest. This is to remind you that you must do the same for yourself and for our people. Thank you for standing up and taking a role that is earned by hard work and love for your people. Kitamigwet. I'm just sharing that because I think this standing order change for me to be able to speak my language is very momentous for me. I'd like to thank my colleagues here, but also across, for standing with me to be able to do that. And, you know, this is part of the journey. This is healing. This is wellness. This is hope. The biggest room in the world is the room for improvement. And this is one step towards it. Miigwech.